Hey, welcome to the Pom in Oz Pom and LekDog show. As you'll notice, without LekDog, it's just the Pom show. Unfortunately, a bit of a family crisis, we'll call it. A family crisis, we'll call it. Last minute sub out is LekDog on my own. All by myself. I'm all by myself, so that'll be it. So I'm going to have to use you guys and girls to entertain and help me carry the awkward silence. But we are going to go through every club. So just points of note, if you can hit the like, hit the subscribe button, that really helps the channel out. We're going to just run down what players are. It is Mrs. Pom's birthday, so I'm under strict instructions to finish this by 7 at the latest. So we'll go through each club, what they've taken, every pick, everything like that. Have a little bit of a chat of if it was good, bad, indifferent. To follow, this is the last live, probably, well, it will be the last live of the draft period. So that's quite sad. It's like going to bed on Christmas Day for me. You know what I mean? Boxing Day is a bit garbage. So I'm sad, but I'm excited at the same time. But we are going to be doing 18 clubs draft videos. So, 18 clubs. It is indeed, Chills. Good day to you. It's all the Spice Girls, mate. Repping. Bloody repping. Good day to you. Good day to Says. So, we're going to go through all the clubs, chat a bit about the players, have a look-see at what they picked up. So, like, subscribe, become a member of the channel. The support from you guys and girls in this off-season has been absolutely mental. So, you'll see on the left-hand side, that's where they picked them up. Thank you very much, Dominic, mate. I really appreciate it. My voice is going, so I'll have to drink a lot of water. Ginger was my favourite too. But Adelaide, Kraus, a sensational trade period, draft period, really, for me. When I look at this, they were the first team to bite on Danny Curtin. For me, I'm very surprised. You know, I was very hot on him. He didn't go early. He went later than we thought he would do. And the media couldn't really make up their minds where Dan Curtin was going. But Danny Curtin joins them. They get an absolute potent key defender who I think will start his career as a third. As for the midfield stuff, I don't buy it. I really don't see him being in the midfield for a wee while. What I do see with Danny Curtin is quite simple for mine. And that is we get to see a guy that is the modern day intercept defender that can take games away from people very quickly in a short space of time. Incredibly good size, 197, 95 kegs, strong in the air, and incredibly skillful and gifted. For me, this was the pick of the bunch for me of all the drafts drafting. There's a few late ones, but for me, I just think this is a huge dub. He's had a bit of a family crisis, nothing too major, but he's had to sort some things out last minute, so I couldn't get a replacement on my own. Their second pick, 21, after doing that trade, was Charlie Edwards, and we talked about Charlie Edwards on this show quite a bit, and Charlie boy is a very strong player, and if ever there was a player that you'd link to Adelaide, I think Charlie Edwards was it, in my opinion. An incredibly talented footballer that really can take the game on. And I think he's a real good replacement for a Rory Sloane moving forward. I feel like he's very composed on the ball, very, very elite kicking, very clean. And he's got a high engine, which is everything that when you watch Adelaide play, that's what they're all about. When you watch Adelaide play, they are that type of team that have high running, real high energy. And that is a really good pick because the draft prediction for him was 20 to 13 and 20 to 30, and they got him right in that range. Oscar Ryan might have been a big surprise for some. Definitely this pick said to me that I don't think they could get a trade down. I think they would have maybe tried to trade this one down. I don't think anyone would have picked him up, the Bush Rangers boy. I had him going in the back end of the draft, so this was quite early. But this guy here can play general defender, has pinch hit in the midfield, incredibly quick, real strong defensive-wise, and 187, 77 kegs is really that kind of area. 77% disposal efficiency, and also very similar to when we look at Adam Sard's makeup. His ability to take contested possessions went at 50%, which is really interesting and really a real strong pickup. And obviously, they've talent scouted him. They've talent acquired him, like a lot of teams did post 25. He's a really good pickup for them, and I think they'll be really happy with their traditional draft period of bringing in Curtin, Edwards, and Oscar Ryan. It's probably 3 needs addressed. It's probably 3 areas that they wanted to. Obviously, you've got Will Hamill and George Balassi round pick 8 and pick 16 in the rookie draft. Re-signing, so not really new players. James Balassi is a really interesting one because I would have thought someone would have taken a punt on him. I really did. I thought this one was begging for someone to do it, but I really like their draft period. I really do. And we'll put a little grade here, right? I don't like doing it, but I'm going to give them, right, for their trade period, an A. An A. I'm going to. I really enjoyed that. So then we go to Brisbane Lions. Now, Brisbane Lions, I just quite like this one, just cheekily. So they went into this period with some real obscure picks, if you remember. It wasn't, when you looked at Brisbane's situation, this was one of them ones where you knew they were going to have to, work, which is always tough. But do you know what I mean? They were going to have to work and really put in a shift, really, for want of a better word, because they didn't really have them high-profile picks that you associate with teams and think, you know what, we can get something done here quite easy. But what they've got is they've addressed their needs very well, in my opinion. But more importantly, they have got good players. And you think on the morning of the draft, there wasn't really a lot happening for them. There wasn't really a lot happening for them in the terms of it was always going to be hard for them to get the players that they wanted and stuff like that. But they started off with Logan Morris, who for me is an absolute wonderful footballer, a footballer who is that modern day forward, a little bit smaller than the average bear, a player that has got really good upside, kick snags for days, very, very talented with his set shot, probably the best set shot in the draft, in my opinion, real clean. And that 190, 190 kegs can play that medium-sized role, probably fill the gap of Jack Gunston and be that type of player that they're looking for. And I really like that pick, a really solid pick. Again, you expect this, though, from them, don't you? You expect from Brisbane to nail their picks. Luke Lloyd from Sandy Dragons, a 193.84 keg, very similar specimen to Logan. As you can see, they took that pick there, pick 42. These picks here were really trying to work here. And the next 2 picks for me were absolutely sensational. Luke Lloyd, another tall forward, 193, like we say. Incredible football IQ. Incredible movement as well. Really good leading lanes. I really like this pick, and I was like, you know what? Wow. Fair play to Gold Coast. Fair play to him. Christmas party. Hey, LekDog's paying for it. We're sending him. Everything's okay. Don't panic too much. It's more of an inconvenience, I think. The next pick was Zane, 51. 51, Zane Zakatowski. We talked about this guy here quite a lot. And you know what I find really interesting about this is one of them ones that was really hard to pick. In the terms of, there's so much upside with Zane. 196, 89 kegs, strong intercept marking, and also then pinch hitting one-on-one, right? Working with Harris Andrews, who's one of the better one-on-one defenders. That's probably his weakness, but his intercept work and stuff is strong. Working with McInerney on his ruckcraft is going to be really interesting. And I think an absolute smasher here. Really quick as well. A real quick footballer, which for me is real modern day football. Everyone is looking for that fast toe guy, and they got one. And to get him here, insane business because they don't need him to play now. They can feed him into the football world. They can really do it. We know that they develop talent very, very, very cleverly. And he's going to be one that I'm really looking forward to see for me. He's one of them that I feel like we'll look back at and probably look at some of the teams that had them picks around there and be like, oh, I wish I was a fish. I wish I was there. But you think they started this campaign, do you know what I mean, with 30, 39, 51, 54, 67, and 97, right? Pre-draft, before the draft board was formulated. Them 3 picks are incredible. Are really, really, really solid acquisitions. And I really like their first picks. Then we're going into 64, and they were one of the last teams to pass. They really did hold out to this. And this one's a really interesting pick for mine. I feel like that they came into this draft with a plan, and obviously they looked at this. They needed to fill this spot. They were like, you know what? Let's take a guy that we like. And again, a Peel Thunder inside midfielder, 184, 83, with incredible kicking skills and incredible poise. And they've had history, you know, with players on the outside. Do you know what I mean? And players outside that top 20, top 30. And Rhys Torrent, you know what? Working with probably a guy that, in my opinion, is really underrated, even though he's got the kudos and he's won Brownlows, Lachie Neale. I feel like Lachie Neale is one of them players that we always forget about, right? Do you know what I mean? And I think he is incredible. I think he is incredible. And this one is I'm going to watch with bated breath. I can do that, Rob. I'm still hot on Braden. I'll tell you my guy. I'll tell my guy when we come to him. Rhys Torrent, though, great pickup, and he's one to wait and see for me because you can just see it. And then they went with the Cat B, Bruce Revel. Obviously, do you know what I mean? This guy here is a proper Category B rookie. Been playing out in the VFL, which is really interesting. And some little standouts for him when he was in the Brisbane team. He's played a lot of games for them, but definitely go and check the round or the first final, but also round 22. Really showcased how he uses the ball and his tackle intent. He is one of them players that hits everything really hard and really suits that. I'm going to be really interested to see where they play him because they played him down back, they played him up forward, they played him in the midfield. I feel like Bruce, just being that kind of older player as well, means that he's probably AFL ready quicker than the average bear. So I really like the Bruce pick. He's going to be one that, you know, I'm just going to have a quick look at. And bearing on where they were, and I think that's really important when we talk about this, bearing on what they were doing pre this pick, right? Do you know what I mean? Pre this pick, in the terms of what they went into this draft with, is an absolute legendary that we've got these players. Like, do you know what I mean? You think in real life, 30 and 39 were their first picks, and then 51, and then 65 to come in with this, with the knockbacks. Absolutely sensational. I'm going to give this a B+. Carlton, my team, Ashton Moore, Billy Wilson, and Matty Carroll on the rookie pick 14. Ashton Moore and Moya is one of my favourite players in this draft. We have talked about this guy ad lib all year, like nearly 6 months we've talked about Ashton, and that is how much we love him on this show. We're a big fan of what Ashton does, but that wonderful medium-sized forward. And when you look at Carlton, you're looking probably for pure goal kicking, and he probably falls off from midfield to forward, that conduit kick. If Carlton could get another Jack Martin, I would say that forward line is the most devastating forward line in the world. And why I say that is Harry and Charlie, they get deeper entries closer to goal. Deeper entries closer to goal mean Motlop, Durden, Fantasia, and Owies have got better crumbing targets. There's no point crumbing 45 yards out of goal, where genuinely, I think it was 42% at the end of last season, a short of that 30 metres out from Carlton inside 50s. Strong kicker. You can see Carlton's draft strategy very, very quickly here. You can see it very, very quickly that they've targeted kickers with a bit of speed and some POD, point of difference. 29, great pick for Ashton Moyer. And I'm really excited about seeing this kid ply his trade. Good evening, Brandon. Good evening, Lana. How are you doing? Very happy the players were drafted. Yes, spot on, Angus. Ball ace. Sorry, Grito, mate. Apologies. Thank you very much. Athletic, yeah, spot on. And if you've watched my stuff, you know Bailey Fritsch is my favourite non-Carlton player. I give him a lot of stick, but he's a guy that really annoys me because I wish we had him. So that's really good. The surprise probably came at 34 for many people, and that was Billy Wilson. And Billy Wilson, again, a guy that his back end of the year has been really, really, really good. And that is something that you always check out in these drafts. Probably taken a little bit earlier, but the big thing here is with his midfield, with his elite kicking and his point of difference being the pace, Carlton have always looked for this real speedy, quick guy inside and out. And I think Billy Wilson is that kind of player that we've been looking for. In the leadership group at the Stingrays, vice captain, I really like this pick. And the beautiful position Carlton have, like Brisbane, who we just talked about, they don't need players to play tomorrow. They can hold him. They can hold him, let him develop, get some time in the VFL system and really work his craft. And I feel like he is a real high upside player because worst case scenario, he's a nippy player off halfback. Best case scenario, he takes this midfield position, which he was playing back end last season, and runs with it. And I'm looking forward to seeing him. And he's a nice size, 183, 72 kegs. Do want to say that a big knock on him at the start of the year was his contested work. And being a vice captain, putting your hand up, going in the guts and working hard shows attitude, shows acumen, and shows that you care about the league. So I'm really excited about him. Do I think Ashton will play seniors? I do think he'll play seniors. I would say 10 games minimum from Ashton in year one. Do you know what I mean? And I wouldn't be surprised to see him be a smoky for very early doors. And up next is we've got another Carroll. Big Matty Carroll. And I feel like we're going to like him. And I always say this, if in doubt, pick a dragon, right? If in doubt, pick a dragon. Carlton rookied him today. Booming little left peg on him. Incredible interceptor. He has got lightning speed again. Lightning speed. But probably one of the highest IQs defensively in the draft. Very high IQ. Very defense first. But very bold with his ball movement. Very bold using his pace. Reports about St. Kevin's, people telling me about when he was there. St. Kevin's, he was really, really devastating at school football, who are top level, it has to be said. And I really like this pickup. I really do. I think this is a really good pickup and one that I'm excited about because, again, he's working with Nick Newman. He's working with Adam Sard. He's working with a lot of players. Shouldn't take him too long to get up to speed. And there he is, a little gem for Carlton. We'll update my sheet. B+. Pies were quiet. And when you're the flag winners, you don't have to do much, do you? Let's be honest. I mean, you've just got to turn up, really. But to see Harry Di Matteo slide down to their first pick, an absolute gem of a pick at 25, it has to be said. This kid's got something about him. And I want to talk a little bit about Harry because I love Harry. I love everything he's about. I feel like he prioritizes defensive pressure. He's been in the leadership group at Dandenong Stingrays. He's played high-level cricket. His speed, his tackling, his second efforts, and he makes something happen. But above all, it's his personality. His personality, that kind of vibe and that two-way running is really positive on a playing group. And I really like this pickup here. And I feel like he's going to really thrive on learning off players like Jamie Elliott and people like that to really hone that forward craft. Because probably the one thing he lacks is their mass goals and things like that. But he is a real workhorse. And I feel like that suits what Fly does. And I feel like Fly will really like this acquisition, probably later than planned. And a few of these guys slid down. But great pickup for the Pies. And he will go well. He will go very, very well. Then with their second pick, they really did target surprises. 37, Chew Giaf, the NGA product, right, at Hawthorn. Took him just before the cutoff. A few teams were very sneaky with that, weren't they? But Chew Giaf, absolutely brilliant. Considering that he wasn't in the Gippsland side until round 9, he has taken his opportunities and absolutely flown with it. And that, for me, shows the strength of character of what this kid's about. Because once he was there, Jesus, he looked like a good player. And there's some great footage on the internet, few full games. Check them out, where he really shows it. His interception, his ball use as well was very strong. And his ability to attack and hit targets, but also hit the game and take the game to the opposition. A really, really good pickup for Collingwood. And this is one he's going to be learning off Howe. He's going to be learning off Darcy Moore. He's going to be learning off the Dacos. Them type of players, learning off Dacos about how to cut traffic. Real good pickup for them. And he's going to be one of them that I really look forward to seeing. Essendon, got a few of my teams that I'm not big fans of, but Essendon, it has to be said, we know that the media loves seeing them take picks and tell them that they're the off-season winners, but they are very strong. You know what? Collingwood picks they've got, they get a B+ as well. Essendon, so Nate Caddy picked 10. They did that pick swap. He fell into their lap, right? He absolutely killed it. Do you know what I mean? They absolutely killed that one. You got to give Dodoro some props. I mean, he messes up a lot, and I'm quick to criticize him, but this is a great acquisition for them. Nate Caddy, I feel like the Jake Stringer comparison's a little bit harsh, because I would say that this guy is a lot smarter footballer in the terms of output and effort and energy. Incredible turn of speed for a kid that's 193 and 90 kegs. His hands, pretty sure someone said to me the other day when they did the measurements that his wingspan is that of a 205 centimetre footballer. He's got gangly arms. Not taking the piss out of him, but that's pretty important when you're trying to catch a ball for a living. He's the nephew of Josh Caddy, so he comes from good stock. Incredibly strong in the air, and his marking is absolutely insane. And you know what I like is he's been running with the midfield towards the end of the season at Northern Knights. And this here could be that kind of pinch hit. Everyone wants to be compared to Dustin Martin in the league. It's like this new thing, isn't it? Everyone, ever since 2017, we just can't help ourselves. But when I look at Dustin Martin, when I look at Jordan De Goey, these players that are impact players, I always think of the player that can go through the midfield and give you a couple of clearances, but also be a bit of a pain in the arse. Nate Caddy, I could see doing that in the next couple of years, and I feel like that's what Essendon lacks. So they absolutely nailed this pick. There was a lot of options on there, and there's a lot of ways to go wrong, but fair play. Great pickup by them. I'm very, very impressed. Luman Lawal, and as usual, when we come to do this draft, you fall in love with a player and you always make the risk of him going to a club that you don't really like. And Luman, I love this kid. Pace, energy. He plays the game with a big beaming smile, and that makes you invested. You can see he's having fun out there. He works hard. I do love the fact as well this pick was taken right on the precipice of where it should be, but highly athletic. They've needed that player. We've needed that player, right, who can break lines. And at 182, 72 kgs, absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant, because they've lacked this from Sard. I know I assume they're taking the piss that they think Nick Hind was a replacement for Sard. This is the closest you've got. Run and carry, bit of injection, get around it. I agree. I'm happy for him because he looked happy. And I agree, Kai. Do you know what I mean? They've gone with need. Cheers, Reed, mate. Much love to you. I hope you're all right. But exactly what they wanted. I really like this pick. I hate to say it. I like this pick. And then Archie Roberts, another slider. And these teams have really benefited from the drafting elsewhere. And this is a really interesting one because he is incredibly complete, is Roberts. He's got everything you want in a halfback flanker, and I can see him moving up to the midfield very quickly. Intercepting, he's got incredible IQ. He's got a huge engine, and he can maintain that engine. Like Sam Walsh, who's got a real fast speed, he can do it all game. Like Ollie Hollands as well. Very similar in that mold that he can run all day at high energy, but also his ability to hit targets and take you from the back and into the midfield in a short space of time. Archie Roberts, for me, I find he's just a mind boggler for me. I can't put my reason on it unless I don't know what he said in the draft interviews. The only thing I can put it down to is a few Sandy boys slid. And my reason for it is, and we see it a lot, because they did so well in juniors, I think maybe the guys that made the end product happen, like Archie, were forgotten about. Like Matty Carroll. These guys do all the graft to let the other players take the limelight. And maybe that's it. But this guy is incredibly consistent, and I'm really excited about seeing how his career goes because I feel like there's going to be a few eggs on the faces. Spot on, mate. Lowell's story is beautiful, and what a beautiful scenes, you know, when he got drafted as well. Wasn't that beautiful? I love them tales, and you've always got to remember these kids are kids with families, and do you know what I mean? Inspirational tales, stories of sacrifice and hardship and getting there, and beautiful story. And Vigo Vicentini joined his pal Archie Roberts in the 7th pick of the rookie draft, and a real project rook here for him. And I liked him. So a lot of people had this guy being drafted in the first 50 or so, which I think is really, really interesting if you think about it, because he was definitely a ruckman that has them traits that when we look at in the AFL, we're looking at these type of players that are 10 a penny really in the ruckman, but we just can't find one. Very, very strong ruck work. 204 centimeters, 99 kegs. He's really improved in the last 12 to 18 months. And he worked really well with the mids and really showed it. 23 hitouts, do you know what I mean, per game? Real physical and imposing. And straight away, he's a Phil replacement. It's going to be interesting because he's working with Goldstein this year, who is a very similar type of ruck. So I really like that. And that could be one that really helps them develop him. But I'm a big fan of Vigo, and I wish him the best, but not against Carlton. But I thought this was, again, a really solid one. And I hate to do it. I'm going to give them an A-. I think where they took the players is phenomenal, and I think it's a good pick. Fremantle came. It is worth noting in this draft, before we cover this, right? Fremantle had a plethora of list spaces, right, to fill. They had to fill a boatload. And they came into this draft with 34, 46, 63, and 60, right? Not very good picks. And I'm not too sure how they've managed to do this, because this is amazing. This is amazing. Lily, g'day to you, my darling. I'll come on to St Kilda. We're nearly there, alphabetical, so we'll smash that one out. But Cooper Simpson at 35, absolutely splendid pick. And for me, this is a kid. If he gets going working with that 5, boy, oh boy. Goal kicking mid. I'm a huge fan of him. We know I love Cooper. He's a mate of mine, and I'm so proud of him getting there. It's going to be really exciting about what he does. He was indifferent. He is. He was indifferent. But he's going to be definitely that type of player that I'm looking at this year to really see him kick on. And working with that 5, working with that midfield, a goal-kicking mid are as rare as rocking horse poo. If you check, make sure there'll be like a little cog top right of where I'm talking. Make sure that's on high quality. Sometimes if your battery's low or whatever you're watching on, or the internet connection, it sets it to a lower bit rate, but it should be in HD. Then Ollie Murphy came in. This is insane that Ollie Murphy's here. This is a mind boggler. And Ollie Murphy, for me, is an absolute steal. Absolute steal. 200 centimeters, 85 kegs. Brilliant in the air. Brilliant intercepts. Great kicking as well. 78% kicking. Incredibly composed. Probably needs to work on his body, really. Get it more rounded, because even though he's 85 kegs, he's probably lead in his shoes. But he was the MVP in the national championships. And do you know what I mean? They don't hand them out. And I'm sure someone in the chat's going to say, oh, well, there was an MVP who got delisted in 2 days. Probably is. But I'm saying this pick, insane. And I agree with Kai. Do you know what I mean? How to come out with this, you've always got to look at that. The value picks that were there in day 2. Some teams capitalized, and impressive work from them. I really like this guy. You know what? My draft comparison for him, Audi Sam Taylor. And then the next one, another slider. This guy, I mean, just Ollie Murphy's consensus ranking was about 19. That's mental. Then Jack Gllenn, our boy, Jack Gllenn. Gllenn. South Australian. He's got a wisp of hair on him. Incredibly strong in the air. Gifted on the ground. Working with Walters, this guy here is going to be like, boy, oh boy, I can become something. 185 centimeters, 75 kegs. He is a goal merchant. He loves a big-time goal. Very, very elusive as well, and good core strength. A great pickup at the selection that they had. And their first 3 picks, absolutely nailed. Absolutely nailed. Do you know what I mean? I'm really impressed with their day out. And you know what? Odin Jones, he comes into the system. Odin Jones, big ruckman, project ruckman for them, has played down the back and has played forward. This is a really interesting one, because the 18-year-old, he really did play some nice games in the Colts as well. Do you know what I mean? Averaging some really, really decent numbers as well. It has to be said. 15.7 touches. Do you know what I mean? This year, over 18 hitouts, over half of them to advantage. The 7 goals from 9 games. Real strong aerially as well. Really like this little pickup here, because he's one that they can lean on. He's learning off Darcy. He's learning off Jackson. So, real interesting one for here. It's tough to say why Murphy slid, to be honest. Do you know what I mean? It could be he didn't draft well. It could be, I mean, I do think a big part of it is teams around him that were looking for key defenders didn't do it. But interesting, you know what? I'm going to hand out my first A star. I think with the selections that they had, when you're going into it with an average of pick 45 and you pull out 2 guys that were in the top 30, one of which was in the top 20, and one of which consensus-wise was top 40, you're looking at A's all day long. And then Geelong. Geelong are really interesting. You know what? These were probably one of the teams that I was the most interested in. And they probably sprung some surprises, I'd say. It's fair to say. Let's look at their first pick. Connor O'Sullivan, absolute great pick. I mean, let's be having that right. They probably did not, when they went into this draft, think that there was going to be a key position player here. But 198, 92 kegs, probably ready to go from day one. An incredible 2K time trial as well. 6 minutes 11 for a guy 198, 92 is hauling ass in every sense of the word. High aerobic capacity, can get involved in attacking chains, 86 disposal efficiency, incredibly strong in the air. They have got a generational backline. SDK, right? Do you know what I mean? And Connor O'Sullivan, really, really strong. So I'm really looking forward to this. I'm really looking forward to this pick. And it's going to be interesting to see what they do long-term with him. Mitch Edwards was an absolute quality get. My favourite ruckman in the draft was Mitchy Edwards, and a great acquisition. They've never really had a proper ruckman, doesn't it feel like, Geelong? You always are linking them with a want away ruckman. They've got a real good player here, a guy that played underage last year, took out Jackson Broadbent and probably ruined his chances of being drafted. He is in the system now, and he's in a very good system. And they're going to look after him there, and I can't wait to see him go to work. And then Sean Manor, what a get here. Mid-20s, but if you watched his season for Werribee this year, you'd be like, Jesus, he is a good egg. And he is so destined to be that player that you have in your Supercoach team. I think they have got such a good history of old players, and they're not scared to play rookies. They're not scared to play late picks. They're happy to get them in. He is a for now buy, and I'm gutted too, Jezim, mate. I am. And then George Stevens, he took the piss in the final. 6 goals, 27 touches. Him half forward, boy oh boy, he's going to be a player. George Stevens, he came next, and another slider. We talked about the combine. Maybe he didn't interview well of Murphy. This is another one. Probably his accusation is he's probably one-paced and things like that, but a big inside, big mid, right? Who is built like a man, as I don't mean to be horrible, but a kid. Do you know what I mean? 101 kegs, that's big. Do you know what I mean? Real rambustious, real strong contested, gets the ball out on the outside. That is an absolute great pickup there. And this is going to be one of them ones. Like, you know, when Geelong won the flag, we went through their list. So many rookie players, so many plus 30 picks. How did we all miss these? George Stevens has that written all over his pretty little face. You know what I mean? Working with Scott every day, that's a disaster in my opinion, that he's that late. Great player. Ollie Wilshire. So they did it again. Do you know what I mean? They're not scared, right? They're not scared. And this is what really excites me about Geelong. They have had a strategy here, and they have gone hard. And was he a draft shock? Maybe. But do you know what I mean? He was playing some beautiful football up at Barwon Heads. Do you know what I mean? It's 48 goals, 3 a game in the forward line. Mature age type player. Absolutely phenomenal. And he was real strong in the Falcons days as well. It's going to be really interesting what they do here, because 3 5-goal hauls. He's got real good goal sense. Also brings the players into it as well. And he ain't shy of a tackle as well. It has to be said. He ain't shy of a tackle. And this kid here, he could be that player, you know. I feel like this one, again, is going to be another understated one, and one that you probably think about. Do you know what I mean? In your Supercoach team, because he's going to be cheap. And Geelong ain't scared of debuting players, and he's a little bit maturer than the average bear. Yeah, sorry, I can't help you, Brian. I'm not too sure. Maybe refresh it, close it down, and come back. I'm only going to introduce the next player, so you won't miss much. Lawson Humphreys. He might have been a surprise to some. Thankfully, I had a big, deep draft board, but the Swans Districts boy, a midfielder, 182, 77 kegs, can play inside and out. He's really one of these players that when you look at Geelong and you look at what Wells he does, and I agree with Jezim, the best in the business, the kind of guy that they're looking for football. And we always talk about NGA academies here. He is a former NGA player. So you've got to think of that. He's had the elite level training from a young age. He's played state league football. He's played with the men. He's been okay. 22.6 disposals, just under 3 tackles and under half a goal a game. This one here, again, is another one that you look at and you think they're going to develop him. And then they finish with Emerson Jecker, and I really like this acquisition. I love Big Emerson. I'm gutted that when they got rid of him. When they got rid of him, Hawthorn, I was gutted. But he comes over, they get him in the rookie draft. I'm going to give this an A. From where they were, what they've done with them picks, it could be an A star. Oh, you know what? Let's be fair. A star. Of course, not much to talk about here because they were gift-horsted, these picks, weren't they, really? It's not really talent acquisition per se, but has to be said, they took the best key forward in the draft by a long way, Jed Walter. Interesting that the AFL was reporting today that teams weren't going to bid on him to make a stand. People protest in the most bizarre ways. Like, okay. Wow. Like, I mean, it would have been a travesty in this draft if, with their picks, they took them. I mean, if we were watching this and they'd taken Jed Walter at pick 30, I would have been on a plane home. Pominos would become a full-time village cricket channel. Ethan Reid, the best well-rounded ruck in the draft. He was solid. 14, Jake Rogers and Will Graham, they started to go where they should do. Jake Rogers, look out for him. Diminutive midfielder, really tough inside. Likes a snag as well. Ethan Reid, that modern-day ruckman. Will Graham as well. Don't sleep on him. Plays down the back and into the midfield and can play outside. Real good turn of pace. And then they took Sam Day in the preseason draft, which we knew it was going to happen. It's just it's just their little familiars with contracts and upgrades and whatnot. But Sam Closey, general defender, this kid here really stood out. And Manor was so good in the final, but Closey's had a really strong VFL campaign. Just a little bit older, in his early 20s. Real good scope and talent, a real dash off halfback, really takes the game on. He's got a real good sense of what to do about the game. So I love this pick, and I'm surprised that other teams didn't take him, because I think it was just because of all the sliders. And I agree with you, Saz. I would have bid them all, pick one, and made them go into deficit. There's the protest. But there it is. Will Rowlands was an interesting one, and I really did like Will Rowlands' pick. A Northern Territories boy finds his way onto a list, and that's what you want to see. Do you know what I mean? You want to see these good... I'm sorry, a Northern Territories boy who went to play for Norwood, incredibly strong around stoppages, a real tough cookie. He's got breakaway speed, 179, 77 kgs. And I look at this kid here, and I just think, you know what? Right? You get this guy going. You get him playing with another guy that's just under 180, Tuck Miller. Watch this kid cook. Watch this kid cook. Rookie pick in the 15. A great acquisition. I really like that from them. And I'm really going to be interested to see how his career develops. And then the small 180. Let me just change that because that's stolen from another thing. But the 180, just under Jack Mahoney. He got rid by North Melbourne. He's been on the AFL list. High pressure forward. Probably the one thing that they lack. They use Holman. 177 at last measurement, 73 kegs. AFL just slightly below average. Did take a few marks though, but the big thing for him is when you watch Jack Mahoney is he likes that pressure. He likes that run and chase. And working with Holman, I think, will help him because I feel like he probably needs that energy to learn off. And working with Dimmer every day, who prides himself on his mid-forwards, medium forwards, small forwards, applying that pressure, I think this is a really good get. It's hard to give them anything below this because even these picks here, I thought they nailed. So, A-star. Here we are, GWS. So GWS, they started the train today, didn't they? Yes, 2 days ago now. We've just taken players when they wanted. Awesome, Brian. I'm glad, mate. And they took a player that I think surprised everyone. Phoenix. Best name in the AFL draft. Small forward, 178, 72 kegs from the Bush Rangers. Good country boy. Incredibly strong defensively. Likes to pinch hit in the midfield, but loves them goals out the back. He's real crafty around stoppages as well. The tackle pressure, the crumbing. Working with Daniels, players like that will really help his game. And obviously, they've targeted him. Do you know what I mean? They've acquired a target. There's a reason that he went that early. Love this pick. Love this pick. I love this game. James Leake. Wow, James Leake pick 17. What an acquisition. for those following this, they know I've got a soft spot for players who do play in Tassie. And Leakey is that modern day halfback for me who can literally take the game on. 187, 77 kicks, real skillful, loves the foot candy, good in the air as well, loves hitting targets, 83% efficiency, can change a game in an instant. And then Joe Fonte, we know this guy was talked about a lot in the WA Combine, really stood out there at the Combine. And for under 18s at Claremont, he really showcased his work, his engine, and his running vertical jump, and his blistering speed, but also his agility, and incredibly athletic, real strong interceptor as well, who can play halfback as well. And you probably look at their list and say that they're probably lacking a wing. He mirrors up with Jones. We know that they take it. They take them areas. They take what they need. A solid pick. Solid pick from him. Harvey Thomas, their NGA comes to them. Harvey Thomas, Oakley Chargers boy, tied to their academy. Plays both ends of the ground. So he's been playing back pocket and forward pocket. 176, 69 kegs. Real interesting little one here as well because he has pinch it in the midfield. Plays everywhere. And there is a player that they drafted very similar to that with different dimensions, obviously. Lockie Whitfield, you didn't quite know what he was because he was everything. Could play forward, could play back. This is a really interesting one, but having high engine, really good running power is something that they look for. They really do look for that. And I like this because GWS draft for what they want, not the order. Adam Kennedy, he rejoins them. But then another player, Nathan Ward-Use, a very, probably an unfamiliar one for him. But again, going back to that NGA, playing up in the forward line is old Nathan. And he's really shown in their junior side and his VFL work this year that he can play footy. Do you know what I mean? The two games, round 17 and round 18, hit the scoreboard against Gold Coast a couple of times and really did show that pressure, dynamic kicking, goal kicking forward. And he's going to be one of them wait and sees, but he's definitely got an eye for a goal we've seen in his game time that he has played. So they've picked what they need. This is probably harsh, but I'm going to give them a B-. Oh, I'm going to give them a C+. I've never been too nice. Hawthorn up next. And the Hawks. Nicky Watson, the wizard of Waverley Park, joins there. For me, the best pure forward who is small in the draft this year. Goal-kicking magnet, goal-kicking machine. And he joins them. It's great to see. He's going to really get some exciting times up, down Waverley Way. Will McCabe, the father-son, he joins. And I really like Will McCabe. I feel like people have slept on Will McCabe. I really do. Everything I've heard about him, people have kind of downplayed and poo-pooed what he does. But he is incredibly talented and incredibly strong, right? And he's also very, very smart. And he's got massive speed. And the big strength of his is the upside, the high leap, the read of the game. And any idiot can lift weights. Complex mathematical equations are hard. 197, 86 kegs. Working with Sicily, that'll really help him out. Working with Mitch Lewis every day, he was a really awkward type forward as well. I really like this acquisition, and I want you Hawkers to get around him because I think this is a great acquisition to go with the wizard. Bodie Ryan, we love an obscure name. Is Bodie obscure? To a pom it is. But another Glen L boy who played off halfback. And you know what this really reeks of to me? I look at this and I think 187, 82 kegs. Sicily's going to love working with him, right? But his ability to read the play, it's going to be really strong. And I feel like this adds a bit of pressure on CJ. It maybe frees CJ up as well to play a more dynamic role at high halfback. That could be interesting so they could use his penetrating speed and his kick. But he's incredibly strong. His second and third efforts are really good as well. And I feel like he suits the ethos at Hawthorn. And then Kausha Deer, it was great to see Kausha join as a father-son. Emotional scenes for his late father. And Coucher is a key forward that I think people slept on. Do you know what I mean? They really did. The son of the late Paul, he's massively improved if you've watched Sandy Dragons this year, averaging 3 marks and just under 1.5 goals a game. His ability to hit the target at 195 and 87 with his pace and his leading patterns is really, really exciting. And the forward line there of when you've lost Kajiski, I know you're all upset about that. I feel like Coucher has a higher ceiling, definitely with the rate of learning. So that's going to be a really interesting one. And he's a good size, Chad Windard, we joined in the preseason draft, and Cooper Stevens. Obviously, they're saving a bit of energy and doing a bit of lifts makeup. I feel like it was expected, and I feel like these are good as well. I'm going to give these guys a B- because I feel like Nick Watson was the wise pick. I feel like they could have gone a little bit left field. Up next, we've got the Demons. Caleb Windsor, outside run. And you know, when I was doing the preview of Melbourne, I said that they really need something that stops them being so vanilla. For me, it's like when you go to Cold Rock and someone orders just a scoop of vanilla with no toppings and no pieces to mix in. And Caleb Windsor means all that hard work they do inside. Ed Langdon's got a mate. James Jordan never worked. Lockie Hunter is in and out when he plays. I feel like Caleb Windsor is that excitement machine. And in my opinion, I feel like he's up there with Startus. So we know Startus went top 5. I feel like Caleb Windsor is of that ilk. Real good engine, real penetrating kick. I really like that. And then Colton Thulstrop is an absolute dime to get there at 13. Real good pick. Really good pick. He's going to be an excitement machine. That forward line, Hawthorn and Melbourne now have 2 of the sexiest forward lines for young talent. You've got Collingwood as well, do you know what I mean? With a bit more mature talent, but still quite young. But fuck me, they've built a forward line that's tasty there. Pickett and Folstrup in the same forward line. Oh, can't wait to watch Demon games. I've never said that. Jake Melcham rejoins, obviously a contract change around. And then Keenan Brown, the Keen Dog. I'm Keenan and Cal. Do you remember Keenan and Cal? Might be too old for some people. If it is, I apologize. I had fun doing that there. No shame. But Keenan Brown joins. Keenan, obviously coming into this system, he's part of their academy. Was a father-son selection for them. Nathan, his dad, Nathan Brown, as we know and love, was there. Midfielder, Oakley Chargers boy, 181, 71 kegs. And this really suits the ethos of what they're about. And I don't think since Jones, they've had the type of player that plays like him, who plays bigger than he looks. Massive second, third efforts, loves his pressure, loves his tackling, loves the dirt and grime. I really like it. And I'm a big fan of these like 180 mids. Do you know what I mean? I'm a big fan. Good day, T Mella. How you doing, my bruv? I hope you're doing well, mate. Great pickup for them. I'm going to give these guys a C+ too. I feel like maybe they could have got a bit creative, but good picks. North Melbourne. This is a tale of the tape for me. Tale of 2 things. Colby McCurcher, you wanted it, right? He's the one. He's the superstar. He, in my opinion, will be the best player in this draft. You know I like a guy. So, Rod, if you want it, I've done it twice. No, I've been harsh on him. Colby McCurcher, for me, is the biggest no-brainer in AFL draft history. So safe. Does everything well. Absolute complete player. Really, really like him. Zane Dursman was picked 4. We know, was it Curtin? I still think Curtin's a mistake, but I'm going to counter it. So shout out to my mate Pat and Big J, big North fans. Apologies. No, Rod's a North fan as well. Like, big call coming up. Zane Dursman, though, dynamo, X-Factor talent, changes games. They can get that transition game going. Zane Dursman is going to be a peach. And these are the picks that I adored from North Melbourne. This is where I'm like, yes, North. Get stuck into it, boys. Taylor Gord, they did something for me really exciting here. They took a guy that is A point of difference. A point of difference. It was easy to go Mitch Edwards. It was easy to go them type of players. Taylor Gold, P-O-D. 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 Point of difference. Speed on Taylor Gold is like something I've never seen. I have cried 3 times in my life, right? When I held my kids, when I first heard the Beatles, and when I watched Taylor Gold run out of a congestion. Do you know what I mean? It's like the Beatles. The Beatles stuff. Absolute great pickup. Will Dawson then, they backed it up. Love Will Dawson. Only negative about Will is he's not spelt his name right. But apart from that, I'll forgive the L. Will Dawson, his ability to pinch it in the ruck, but his dynamicness down the back. Suddenly, I'm not bothered about Dan Curtin. I think Dan Curtin is head and shoulders above these picks here. But I love what they've done the back end, which has made me love the St. Ursula selection because they've sorted the need out. And then to get Riley Hardiman. Clarko's at the wheel, baby. Clarko's at the wheel. Good drafting. I like it. I feel like in the rookie draft, they could have maybe got a bit crazy, but then they took Northern Bullants, Finbar, Malley, and he's been playing ruck and floating forward. Real interesting one here. Does remind me a lot, he does, of Noah Bolter. The way that you just don't quite know what he is. And I really like this pick. I think he should be Team LO. Giaf, amazing player. Really, really good. Enjoy that. That's 2 years in a row, mate. North players. Hopefully my Kangaroos membership as a guest is in the post. North, you know what? I'm going to do it. A-star. I really like theirs. I really like their thing. Here we are. Port Adelaide came into this draft with some of the worst picks you've ever seen. So bad that the AFL had to give them a pick, right? So bad. But they came into this list spots needing to fill. Do you know what I mean? It's a tough one for me to swallow how they did this. Because their first pick in this draft was so far away. I was looking at this going, well, they're cooked, aren't they? Let's be honest. They're struggling. But when your first pick, as funny as it is 69, you've got problems, haven't you? Statistically, you've got problems. But Port nailed it. Like, fair play. From here, good work. Good work. That's all I'm going to say. They brought in, if I massacre his name, I am so sorry. So I'll have a fair crack. But Tom Anastopoulos, right? He's from the Geelong Falcons. I might not be able to say his name, but I have seen a good bit of his football. Real poacher, goal-type kicking player. And with Robbie Gray working there, this guy's 176 and 65 kegs. I'm really excited to see what happens with him because Robbie was, 6 centimetres taller than him, but he loves that run up half forward and loves to take it late, loves hitting the goals, but also he's really fierce and combative on his defensive sections as well. But also, a bit like Robbie Gray, will line up for the set shot, bob it over the man to a guy in the goal square. So he's got great vision. Working with Robbie Gray, for me, always says, when you've got players like that who play the game in a way that, in my opinion, you can teach, I'm always willing to say, okay, let's have a look. Let's have a look at what you're about. And I'm looking forward to seeing what he goes and how he goes about his work. I'm really excited about seeing him. So, fair play to him. Good luck to him. He's gone to a good club. Up next is Charleston. A bit like the dance. GMV Verrills, another small forward who, again, they've really targeted defensive pressure and keeping the ball in. And that's probably Port's big issue if you look at it. They probably don't lock the ball in enough for me and create them repetitive entries. Has pinch hit in the midfield as well. 177, 74 kegs. This is a good little pickup for them because he's got something about He's got a little bit of chutzpah, and they stayed in Victoria. Will Lorenz, really looking forward to this. Good mate of mine. It's one of his real-life buddies, so I was stoked to see this young kid get a chance, because that's really important. Do you know what I mean? Like, this is what it's all about, end of the day. It's all right us talking about them and getting excited, but let's remember, these kids are playing football. And a good mate of mine, Big Danny Martino, it's a mate of his. Will, best of luck. But a guy who can play forward and midfield, incredible decision-making, and he loves to float on the outside as well. And you do see him a lot for Oakley. Play the handball and then slide out wide. Also be that late coming from behind at the stoppages and being the outlet ball, and has that direct attack like Tuck Miller. Tuck Miller, one of his strengths is he hangs out the back of the stoppage and attacks it direct to receive the handball. And this is what this kid can do. I'm really excited about seeing this, because although he's not fast, he's quick in the head. You've got to remember that the ball travels faster than a player. And Ollie Wines, it's never let him down. Cripper ain't Usain Bolt. It's never let him down. At 186, 72 kegs, you put 6 or 7 kgs on this guy, he can hit ball, he can hit target. It could be a little smoky. And then they finished with Xavier Walsh. And Xavier Walsh might not be familiar to you, a lot of you, but a guy, again, all the way in WA. Key forward, 195, 90 kegs. Got a really sweet set shot on him. And also massive, massive leap on him. This guy jumps like he's 170. And that's a compliment. I'm not saying he can't jump very high. I'm saying he's got real good athleticism. It's going to be really interesting to see how that goes and how that builds in the next couple of years for him. I'm really excited about seeing that, because we've got some really good young toes. My mate Tom Scully's there, so we wish him well too. But they've got some really good toes, and they've got a history of cultivating these toes. Do you know what I mean? That's what people forget. I always think it's quite funny when people talk about clubs that they forget that, like, you know, they've had Charlie Dixon there for like ever and a day, right? When he was there and when he was playing. And people got to remember that when he came through the system, he was a zone selection, right, for them. And then he was traded, right? You've got to remember that. And he's going to be teaching them a lot of skill, because he's one of the most natural players. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do with him. But he's a slow burn for him. He's a slow burn. And they've got some really good young players there at Port Adelaide. They've got some really good young players. But Travis Dixon, working with Travis Boak every day, both of these guys are really, really high ceiling. He's going to be working with John Sweet, Scully, Vicente, Marshall, Dixon, Solder. He's got some really good competition. I'm really excited about seeing what he does. And I think based on where they were, you have to give them a B+, don't you, in my opinion? Actually, wait, that's probably a bit high. Let's go C+. I'm excited. St Kilda. Well, we know that Sauce loves a slider probably as much as I do when I'm at a barbecue. And, oh, wait, sorry, Richmond first. Richmond, the 2 picks. Kane McAleef and Liam Fawcett. Kane McAleef, obviously that mid-type, forward-type player. Very interesting selection, because there was a lot of players on the board that probably screamed, get him, if you know what I mean, and they didn't. The North Adelaide boy does play midfield, but I feel like this wasn't really a need. Another inside midfielder. Do you know what I mean? His ability to hit targets and tackle and be like baby Prestia, 187, 86 kgs. I could see it. He's a big body player that has good leadership, good strength around him. I like this pick, but I don't love it. Do you know what I mean? And then Liam Fawcett, they needed a forward. Everyone got rid of the forwards. They went to South Australia, as we thought they would do, pairing them up. Central Districts boy, strong 197, 90 keg player, really good scoreboard impact. He does love a goal. He's working with a guy that I feel like is very similar in his traits in Tom Lynch. So that will be an interesting one. This is probably going to be my worst one, though, because even though they did well to get them players, I still think it's a D, because I feel like they could have got players a little bit higher up, in my opinion. Like, we look where Richmond were Do you know what I mean? I feel like they could have got a little bit more creative and more exciting. When you look at some of these players that were here, I feel like Archie Roberts would have filled a need there. So that's maybe me being harsh. Could be, but that's what it is. St Kilda, sliders, and they just kept getting better, didn't they? They got Darcy Wilson, for me, who I'm really surprised slid outside the top 15. Great pickup. They did that trade. They got a second in as well. Needs to be said, they got second for nothing, pretty much. Darcy Wilson, real Ross the boss type player, hard worker, decent skills, can swing forward and back, be the conduit. Lance Collard, pure goal kicking machine. What an excitement factor. Love that pick at 28 as well. How he slid there, I don't know. And then Angus Hastie. This was maybe about his money, but I really liked Angus Hastie. His ability to break off the halfback. He's like Hunter Clark, but fit. And that's what they need. Hugo Garcia is probably the name that most people aren't familiar with. But big Hugo, he's got a great name. Calder Cannon's boy. And his output and defensive work will just turn Ross the boss on. Loves kicking a goal as well from midfield, but it's how hard he works. And they're the kind of things that Ross looks for. Ross doesn't look for kickers. He looks for hard workers. And this guy will slot in and play a role all day long. I really like that pick. Ari Schoenmaker is the one that I'm confused about. Big booming kick, a little bit different, offers you something different. He's in the high 190s of height, good size, mental that he's here. Mental. Great pickup. And then Riley Bonner. I like Riley Bonner. AFL experience. They always look a little bit vulnerable when there's an injury to players of who they play in. Riley Bonner's thing. I'm giving him an A-star. Brilliant trade period and draft period. Sorry. Sydney Swans. Ah, dear. Sydney. The team that you can never quite predict what they're going to do. And when they do it well. Will Green came in, very highly touted ruckman. They were heavily linked with him. They don't mess around. And that's what I love about them. Very strong ruck craft. He can slide forward and behind the ball. He's very good round stoppages. He's rambustious. He works hard around the ground as well, which is a real important facet in today's game as well, because a lot of these ruckmen are lazy. He's a beautiful size as well. Really hard working. I really like that pick. Do you know what I mean? Really bad. Really bad, really. Off-field bad behaviour. I know he had the long-term suspension, but for me, TNT, I think it's mental. Back your system in. He's a kid. Professional outfit, man. Back him in. Some of these clubs need to be brave. They talk about culture, sidetracking from Sydney. Sorry if you're a Sydney fan. Much. Back your fucking system in. Back it in. 18-year-old boy. We make stupid mistakes. I'm 38. I make stupid mistakes even at 38. I'm human. Like, Jesus. It really angers me. I'm glad you took a punt on him, TNT, and I'm wishing him the best. Caden Cleary, for me, would have been a top 20, top 15 player had he been open to everyone. We said today that evidently no one bids on NGAs anymore, which is fan-dabby-dozy, isn't it? Caden Cleary, though, he got there. They had to match the bid. Great player here, and I really like Caden Cleary. He's got a lot of upside for me, and he does everything well. And when you're looking at midfielders, people get blindsided by body size. It's something that I always complain about. Like, Jason Horne-Francis was a bully at his age, and I was like, he's not going to be able to bully players, as proven by Jack Silvani wasn't scared of him. And Jack Silvani isn't a big, bullish player in the terms of, if you think of hard nuts, Jack Silvani ain't in your top 10. So that's it. Good day, Rick. How are you, my mate? I love Fantasia too, mate, and I think it's going to help development as well. I really like that, mate. Good to see you, my friend. I love that. And then this pick. Yes! Yes, I love this. I love this pick. Right, I'm going to tell you a little story. So I've spoken to a lot of draftees, and I won't mention the name of the guy, but there was a draftee who told me that he was a tall, and his best mate was actually at the Gold Coast Academy at the time. And he said the big difference was when they were 16, his mate at the Gold Coast Academy had a nutrition diet, had a massage gun, had yoga classes, was told about all these different things he could do, extracurricular, in his spare time to improve his body composition because he was 200 centimeters, where he was playing local footy for his club, having a pasty before he went out and played. His massage routine was just having a hot shower when he got home. Things like that. For me, if you want to cheat the draft, pick NGA key position players because that's the hardest position if you're not full-time. We see it in seniors. Rucks, key defenders, key forwards, bye. And fortunately for Sydney, Patrick Snell hadn't been in Queensland long enough. The Northern Territory's boy, he's agile, he intercepts well, he's got a great read, great pickup, brilliant pickup. Sammy Reid, he returns, as we know. We know all about Sammy Reid. Reliable. Good day, James. How are you, my good man? And then Indy Kirk. There's a name you haven't heard, eh? How good's that? Indy Kirk, he joined that. Shout out to my mate Kai. He did a video on it as well today. I hope he likes it. But Indy Kirk, a little bit different for you there. A midfielder that literally isn't so bad inside, isn't so bad outside. Has got some really nice little facets about what he is as well. Brett Kirk's son, obviously. And his ability in traffic is really sensational. And you can go and see, I think it's the Northern Knights game that you can watch on YouTube. That's full. Him playing half forward and he plays the wing. But incredible work rate. And like a lot of father sons, naturally, they have that intelligence, right? Football intelligence. Like it's come through the DNA. So he's a really good reader of the play and a really good skill set. I'm not going to give this one a mentally high rating, but I am going to give it a B. I think it's a really solid one, particularly for this one. I love this one. I think that's a little early, but it addresses a need. Not much you can do about that one. And you're always going to put one of your NGA father sons on there. These, I'm looking forward to talking about the Eagles because they had to do something. And their gap between first and second was mental. But Harley Reid came first, right? We've talked about this guy at length. I don't feel like we need to keep doing it. Harley Reid, phenomenal. Generational talent. Great get. Well done. Happy days. Love this pick. Archer Reid. Key forward comes in. Real strong player. And this guy was really underrated. Logan Morris got all plaudits, but this is a genuine key. And I feel like when I look at Oscar Allen, I look at Archer Reid, I see them working together. I see the work rate and I see how they could complement each other. A really good kick. He's really good in the air, real strong as well, and works the second efforts, which is rare for key forwards. We praise players like Harry who tackle and stuff. That's another layer. Clay Hall is a beaut. Is a beaut signing, and a lot of teams linked to Clay Hall. And it needs to be stated that Clay Hall has got some real footy smarts and works incredibly hard. Can play inside, can play outside. And another facet of Clay Hall's game is he works hard inside and out. Do you know what I mean? Big engine, 189, 87 kegs, working with some midfielders there. Your Gaffs, your Shoeys, your Sheeds, your Yos, who work really hard. A legend, Derek Hall, he played 74 games for Geelong and 2 for West Coast, but a local legend, we'll call him. He's coming in there. Played seniors as well this year. Really good engine on him. A little bit of speed. I love this. Sam Reid does come out. Cheers, James. I'm good, mate. I'm good. Harvey Johnson next, and I really like this pick. This one got me a little bit excited. I was surprised it took so long for him to get there. 183, 80 kegs. Great kick. And that suits the mantra of what West Coast are all about. They're all good kicks. Really hits the targets well. Works incredibly hard. They've got a really good young list here. The 4 names we've gone through are really solid. And I think they will play football very early. And then Locke Rawlinson was their first pick in the rookie draft. And old Locke Rawlinson, Sturt boy, small forward, working with Flying Ryan. That is going to be exciting for mine. hits the scoreboard, has the speed, very similar at 178, 72 kegs to how Liam Ryan plays. He's an excitement machine. We know Liam Ryan's 179, Locke's 178, carbon copies working together. I'm really excited about that one, and one who'll play football pretty early. And then they finish with a ruck forward, Cohen Livingston, and he's a good little young talent. Another York boy. We love York boys here. Is an NGA player, very strong in the air, made massive improvements as well in the ruck this year, playing for Perth. Real strong little combatter. Is the nephew of Chance Bateman. I'm real interested in this one because I feel like Nick Nat's sticking around the club, teaching him how to play. That could be a good one. I'm going to give these guys, I think for their acquisition, I've got to give them a B+. And then we finish with perhaps, for me, the most beautiful of draft hauls with their last two picks. Riley Saunders, he went there. See what I said about Colby McCurcher. Absolutely brilliant player. Excuse me, 11 hours of talking over 3 days. Real solid player. Can play inside and out. No skill set deficiencies. He's going to be a real solid acquisition for them. I'm really like that for them. Great little pickup. Jordan Croft, he comes in, father son. Another key forward to add to the others. Real good work rate, bit of speed, and he's strong in the air. So that's going to be really interesting, and probably maybe preempting 2025, maybe some trade collateral and some other players. Joel Fraser, the outsider, they haven't had a proper winger for me since Lockie Hunter left, and he is excitement. He is attack. Real good in the air as well, good defensively, but he loves that give and go and to overlap his half forwards going inside 50. Lachlan Smith, shout out to my girl, Barker Spontapelli. She's had some good banter about he looks like he's got a mortgage, God bless him. But he comes in, right, and he is a very physical presence. And I think since Stephen Martin left there, they've always lacked that. And I do like to see my big-bodied ruckman play with an agile one like Tim English. 202, 101, right? Little bit more mature as well, born in 2005. This kid here can play a little bit football, real strong football, and he looks ready-made. And he plays older, so do you know what I mean? That age there, it just gets you kind of excited that he's ready to play at 101. Real strong around the clutches, real physicality, leans on them, which is an old school thing, right? Do you know what I mean? When you watch them, when you watch players like him, it's real interesting to know. The good ruckman do, you know, like when you watch Tyson Fury fight, lean on him like that. It's going to be really interesting what he does, because I feel like he could buck the trend and play very early, especially in the two-ruck system. Aidan O'Driscoll, love this kid because this kid is pace, and they've really had a mantra here of let's get some outside run, let's get some real things going. And another Perth boy, he is the brother of Nath and Emma, 175, 70 kegs, real good vision and real hard work rate. Very Audi Ollie Hollands in this guy. I could see that, actually. You know what? I still get a feeling that Aaron Norton signed such a long contract because they are going to play him permanently down back. And Ugur Koken and Darcy will be the forwards. It'd be interesting to see. I think Jordan Croft, though, probably could be suited to that role TNT. So great point. And then Lachlan McNeil and Taylor Duray, they rejoined as they do. Contract changes, whatnot. Boring stuff. But this is a good trade period again. Another B+. So I really like them trade period. So that is the trade. I'm going to go through these in depth with you. Player profiles like the Carlton video today, A to Z. So stay tuned for that. Again, thank you everyone for showing your love and support. I'm going to go and enjoy. I am 60 minutes over schedule. My wife is going to kill me. So happy birthday, Mrs. Pom. I love you. Thank you very much, everyone, for sticking with me over these last couple of days. It's been great. Make sure you like and subscribe. Good night. God bless. Pom out.